Hello there. Today, I'm going to share with you my story of my Thrice Born story, if you will, connecting to the different stages and ages that I have been through in my process of awakening and coming to my into my power, my personal power, my purpose, my dharma, if you will. We're just going to start by taking a moment of intention, lighting some dragon's blood sage here for a little bit of a cyber smudge. Oh, smells so good. And I'm going to get nice and cozy because it is story time. Oh, yes, thank you. It is story time. And I love, love, love telling stories. But before we fully get started in Jenny Stone podcast tradition, I'm starting the tradition. We're going to pull a card today. So I invite you to tune in, maybe place your hand on your heart, take a deep breath. As we're all connected through all different time and space and energy, may you receive the message that is for you today. This one. The Age of Light. Oh my goodness. Okay, so exciting. And this is the Work Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. Love her work. So, Work Your Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. Okay, very appropriate for today's story that I will be sharing, because the story that I'm going to be sharing is how I came to discover that I am a light worker here on this planet. Okay, so the book says, mystics and sages throughout the ages have predicted this period in history, and you decided to incarnate in the middle of it. There's no mistake that you are supposed to be here at this time of great change. If you ever feel unprepared or daunted by the path that is calling you, know this: you've been training for this for lifetimes. You're way more than the days that have breathed through you in this life. You're also all of the lifetimes that came before. All of these experiences have polished your soul into the most magnificent expression that is your authentic self. Your soul has many facets. Imagine a fingerprint. Your soul is a million times more intricate than that. If you put together all of the fingerprints of all of the people you have ever been, you would not even get close to fathoming how much of a unique masterpiece you are. You came in with a clear soul plan. You came in with wisdom beyond your years. This is the part of you that longs to be seen. Yes. This is the part of you that is ready to step forward. Yes. This is that is ready to emerge. Yes. This is not the lifetime to stay hidden, but to step forth, be seen, and rise. Hold the card to your heart and say, so just place your hand on your heart and repeat after me. I call forth the soul gifts and soul trainings that I have received throughout all of my lifetimes. I am ready to embody them all. Now, without hesitation and without fear. I have been training for this for lifetimes. Woo! Age of Light, baby. Oh, just so powerful. So much symbolism in there too. So I'm kind of combining my podcast with my 78 slow today, because it's my life and my rules. I do what I want. So today is day 8 of 78 slow. Woo! Only 70 more days to go. And the prayer is that, I mean, there's so many prayers. that really desire to be prayed through me. So it's a good thing I have 70 more days. But today, this prayer feels really important as I finished my Thrice Born story, or like kind of the rough draft, I guess. I'm going to just wing it here and see, let inspiration guide my freak to genius channel from third eye to throat. Just let loose and see what inspiration shows up. But the prayer that really wants to be prayed today is this: do you know, do you really know how powerful you are? How much light that you have? And that this world, like, desperately needs your light. And only the way you can shine. And only the way you can shine it. And only the places you can shine it. As as a as a healer and a light worker and a coach and a mentor and a Reiki master, all of these things, when I'm working with people, when I'm teaching classes, I'm not teaching you how to be me. I already exist and I'm a lot for this world already. I recognize this. And that is not my job or my goal. My goal is to help you find the courage that you need, that is required to face your own light, to step into your own light, to own it, to claim it, and to walk with it in this life journey. And it is this plea that comes, a prayer plea that comes from this place of, I need you. I need your light. This world needs your light as much as you need it. Just like my light is my medicine. And I just share my medicine that heals me in hopes that it is shining a light on someone else and will maybe give them a little bit of light to be like, oh yeah, I remember I have that light within me, and finding your own inner light your way. So this Thrice Born story that I'm going to walk you through is a map from the Stages Matrix. And um, I'm going to walk you through, there's stages, 1 through 5. And each stage goes through a different age. And then there's a point in time where the age no longer matters, it's maturity. And we all know that maturity doesn't come with age. Maturity is a choice. Maturity comes with wisdom from learning from your lessons in life, because everybody gets lessons in life, but not everybody learns from them. And a lot of people continue to make the same lesson over and over and over and over again. And so the stages matrix, if you look it up, is really powerful. And the journal prompts that, just kind of go into each stage and contemplate as I'm sharing how my stage was, what I was doing at that age, where I was, what are the similarities for you, and what are some of the differences? And know that this is a process. This takes time and contemplation. I've been writing my story of how I came to be here in this moment for 2 decades. It is something that I feel like, especially as an entrepreneur, you're always trying to refine your story, your process, your avatar. And by avatar, I don't mean like your niche market, like, 45-year-old woman who is an entrepreneur and has 3.5 children and makes this much money. Like, my avatar is me at 21 years old as a brand new mom, struggling with postpartum depression. Western medicine is failing me. And now not only am I like labeled with 3 new diagnoses and tried multiple different medications to help those, and none of them worked. And now I'm like, I feel even more broken than when I started. And just, what am I doing? Where am I going? And that was the beginning of my journey of how I got here. And so she is my target audience. She is my avatar. She is who I make everything for. She is who is, because she's the one who started this all. She's the one that came home from the doctor's office after receiving yet another diagnosis and another prescription that she knew was not going to help her. depression, ADHD, so antidepressants for depression. Tried multiple of those. They didn't work. I need a tissue here. And then I got diagnosed as ADHD and was given methamphetamine, which made me crazy and having massive panic attacks every day. And then, oh, well, you have anxiety. Here's Xanax. And at this point in time, I knew I knew about Xanax and I knew about the pitfalls and the fear behind it. And I knew people that were on it that had become complete zombies. And I didn't want that for myself. And so I came home. I didn't have the courage to stand up to the doctor because who am I? I'm just this young 21-year-old mom, brand new mom. And like, how do I know what I want? He's the doctor. I didn't go to medical school, but I knew it wasn't right. And so I went the only place I knew where to go at the time, which was, okay, God, I don't know how, but I'm willing to allow there's got to be another way. And I'm ready. Show me. And I found yoga. Wow, I'm really emotional today. Really interesting because I just stepped into my ovulation phase, but there's some emotions happening right now. We're just going to allow them to flow. I invite you, if tears show up for you, to let them flow. Don't wipe them away. At least let them go down to here, the corners of your mouth, so that your nose smells them. Because as tears release down your eyes, your face, they release different hormones. And when you smell it, your body goes, oh, we've processed the emotion. But when we wipe them away, it's like we didn't process it. I really should get the tissues. I did right here. Okay, but blowing your nose is totally acceptable. Like you don't need that shit to run down your mouth. Okay, squirrel. So I found yoga, and yoga brought me this really beautiful piece in my life that I didn't know was missing. Up until this point, I had been a personal trainer, a nutrition specialist. I was a devout mom and participant member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I fulfilled all of my callings and my duties, and I read my scriptures every day, and I said my daily prayers, and I was doing everything that I was trained and taught from infant to adulthood that if you do these things, if you check all of these boxes, I was being a stay-at-home mom, I was taking care of my kid at the time, just one, but it multiplied into three. I was fulfilling my call. I was doing all the things, and I still felt like I was living in hell. And I didn't understand. I was so confused. And so God, I don't know how, but I'm willing to allow there's got to be another way. And this is when I found yoga. And yoga, it's a cliche for a reason. And cliches are cliches for a reason because they are true. But they become cliche-ish because people throw them around without really having that meaning or backup behind them. But yoga literally saved my life because I was ready to be like, I just wanted to disappear. I was not suicidal in the fact that I'm such a wimp. I could never harm myself, but I felt like I was more of a burden to my family and friends than I was a gift. And I just thought if I could just disappear, if I could just run away, or maybe even just be admitted into a mental hospital and live my days in a numbed out, medicated state where people take care of me, but like I just was in a really bad place, and I found this local yoga class, and I've been a personal trainer, dancer. I mean, I did all of the things growing up: swim team, volleyball, softball, track and field, on the dance team, gymnastics. I just loved it all. I loved moving my body. So when I heard that yoga was a really beautiful way to help with depression, anxiety, and ADHD, I was like, okay, I'm in. And it's also exercise. So I'm kind of like two birds, one stone. And I'm like, at the gym class in the mirrors, and I'm like doing the poses, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm amazing. I'm holding all the poses. Some of them I'm even doing better than the teacher. Like, oh my gosh, maybe I should be a teacher of yoga. Like I didn't know the ego. part was I was new. I didn't know yet. And then the teacher had us lay down in the final pose, Shavasana, corpse pose. And I remember she guided us through a meditation. I do not remember a single word she said, but I remember the feeling in my body, and it was a coming home. And it was a complete sobbing mess. I'm laying down. So as I'm crying, tears are going and pooling in my ears. So I'm having to tip my head to like drain the tears out of my ears so I could hear what the teacher is saying. And I peek around to see, like, is this normal? Is this what yoga is about? And everybody's always this hot mess. And everybody seemed blissed out, like smiling and just like, oh, so relaxed. And I was just like, oh, like my chin was quivering and I was doing everything I could to not like sob out loud. And I didn't understand what was happening to me. And as soon as the class was over, I was like, out the door, because how embarrassing. I don't want anyone to know that I was crying. And I was like, never going back ever again, because that was just way too embarrassing. But old Jenny was back. Glimpses of the Jenny in stages 1.5, 1 and 1.5, like ages, toddlerhood to just young kid. I was known as Little Miss Sunshine. I was known as Little Cupcake because I was so sweet and bubbly and bright, and everywhere I went was just like happy, 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 happy. And um, that little like innocent naivety, excitement about life came back. And so I knew I needed to go back to yoga. And I had to swallow my pride to do that because how embarrassing, how many people saw me crying and was just like, oh, that poor woman is a hot mess. And I didn't, like, little did I know, right? Yoga was not about that at all. In fact, most of the people now that I've been practicing and teaching yoga for over 15 years, I know that the majority of the thoughts of when I see someone crying and what I share in classes when someone starts crying and they're embarrassed and they feel like they need to apologize is this like, no, this is the place. This is the place where you get to heal and you get to release and you get to remove all of the stuff that you've been carrying for so long that doesn't serve you. And I met this spiritual part of me that I thought I had from church, but on a completely new level. I mean, it almost seemed complete opposite. In fact, when I started to get my yoga teacher certification, I had random people, I still to this day don't know who did this, placing pamphlets at my door. So they knew me personally, knew where I lived, that the yoga practice was actually worshiping the devil, and how like the kundalini, the snake rising up through the chakras, was Lucifer. And I was just like, what in the world? And I went and talked to my bishop and I prayed about it. I went to God about it because I was just like, how can this thing that actually I feel more connected to spirit, and at the time the Holy Ghost, that was what the cosmology that I believed at the time. I felt more connected to the Holy Ghost, my personal spirit, than I ever did in any church function or ever reading scriptures or saying my prayers than I did on my mat after a beautiful practice and sitting in meditation and having these beautiful realizations dawn upon me. And they were not even realizations. Well, maybe because I like to like break down words, real lies, real eyes, really being able to see something with your real eyes. So not the human eyes, but that inner eye. So real eyes, Asian nation. So I'm being able to see things from this real place for the first time. And so these realizations and inspirations where I was in spirit nation, inspiration. And they were more like memories, like these, like, yes, I do know that. These core Rememories. Remember. And I love remember. Re means before, and member is like membrane, right? Our membranes. And so there's this before, there's this memory of before that we're sensing in our membranes. And it's this coming home, this sinking into this body here now. Okay. Oh, okay. Snotty snot. And I'm not even going to apologize because everybody has it. And healing is not always beautiful and just like, festival fancy glitter and feathers and fun dresses and goddess energy. Sometimes it's, the feral witch goblin that comes to get you in the middle of the night that rips you open and tells you all of the things that are like still eating you alive. And like it's time to like cut that shit out and break some of those spells and cut through the illusions with the truth. And sometimes the truth is hard because we've been lying to ourselves for so long. And I just invite you with the prayer of today being that you really remember your light and remember and feel safe to like look at it. The question is, where have you been lying to yourself about that light? That, oh, I'm not really good enough. Who do I think I am? Imposter syndrome. Like, only special people have it and I'm really not that special. Or, you know what? It's already been done and it's been done so well. I couldn't really like, how could I really do better than that person or say it better or more eloquently? Or I could never know all the things, but your light needs to shine in your way to add to the conversation. Think of a room full of lights. And if you are in a room right now with lights, just look up for a moment and notice how the light over in that corner doesn't fight with the light in that corner over there. And there's not like this boundary of like, hey, this is my light and this is where I shine. Don't shine on my light. The lights come together somewhere in the middle and just make everything brighter. This is why you need to shine your light to make everything brighter. We're in really dark times right now. Frederick Nietzsche, he kind of was the beginning of the end of God is dead, right? And we have, as a society, as a cultural, as a whole, lost a cosmology that used to believe in a singular God and a savior that's going to come save us. And we went into this like metaphorical dark ages, spiritual, maybe dark ages, philosophical dark ages, because we're in this beautiful like golden age of technology right now, and our technology is just boom, and just exponentially increasing every day. New and new discoveries are being made that are just going to advance our health and our ability to prosper as a civilization forward. But to what cost? Because some of us are selling our souls for that. And we're working in jobs that are sucking our life force energy from us instead of allowing us to shine that life force energy out. And this is the call to really get honest with yourself. All the reasons you've told yourself why you can't do the thing that your heart is begging for you to do. All of those lies that you've been telling yourself, it's time to face them. Because if we don't mentally, emotionally, and spiritually mature, we're fucked. Because society, like these technologies are going to end up owning us. Like that's the fear, right? AI taking over and we become slaves to AI. That's the fear. And here's the reality. That has a potential. That is absolutely 100% a potential. However, this is where these stages matrix come in the Thrice Born Story, and doing the work, the internal work. No one can do it for you. And sure, there's going to be a million like, 2-step, 5-step, 10-step processes out there. And I have even created a whole bunch of them. If you want to go check them out on my website, you can. And it's what I teach in my Sacred Intuition Society. are the processes that helped me find my light, but my job is to help you find yours. And it may work this way. This process that worked for me may work for you and it may not. But how are you going to know if you don't try? And you may have to just find your own process. And really, that's what's going to happen, even if you do step into somebody else's process and go, okay, they did this, because I've spent 20 years working on this, and I've been able to distill it down to some super simple steps. But you got to show up and do the work, and you got to do it your way and go, okay, Jenny said this, but it feels like to me, maybe if I do it this way, I have this idea or this thought, or I see something, or I hear something, or I know something, because our intuition, our spirit, our daemon, our avatar, right, speaks to us through these physical senses. And we have five physical senses, and attached to all of those in the world, we call them six senses. But for me, they're the first ones that we had before we came into this physical being and got so obsessed with all the things that we could touch and see and hear and smell. And oh my God, it's so exciting. We got so like, that we kind of forgot we had these original senses. And so it's a remembering, returning to these senses of, I already know, just the nose knows what are you hearing on the inside, your inner voice? What do you feel in your body? When you talk, what comes out? What do you see, either with your eyes open or your eyes closed? There's all of these different ways that we connect. And I've learned these through multiple identity deaths. So yoga saved my life. Wow, that was a big, a little bit of a soapbox. You're welcome. Yoga saved my life and really showed me a new perspective to spirituality, that it's not check boxes, that there's a much deeper work than just saying, I did it. I showed up to my yoga mat and I did the practice. I showed up to my meditation cushion and I sat with the uncomfortable feelings and I questioned what showed up for me and I journaled about it. Well, I guess here's a journal right here that I could show you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. This one I just finished. Um, so anyway, but really doing the work and sitting with it and asking yourself the hard questions and sitting with those uncomfortable feelings, because those are what are going to guide you to the next step and help uncover more and more and more of your light. And also following those little whispers of, like, usually they sound nonsense, they sound or feel or seem nonsensical, completely illogical, and almost downright dangerous and terrifying. Like, if I do that thing, I might literally get kicked out of my community. My person that I think I really love might really actually leave me because they might not really love me. I've been wearing this mask and pretending to be this for so long that if I do this and show them, I almost want to be like, show them who you really are. Are they going to like accept you? And it could feel dangerous. And we have to move through that danger anyway and have faith that it's going to guide us in the direction that we're meant to go. So I kind of talked about me as a child, Little Miss Sunshine and Little Cupcake, and just being that happy little, just so excited, bright light to be everywhere. Little did I know that that was a trauma response to a parent who was chronically depressed and emotionally unavailable. And it was my job to make them happy. And that was a big burden for a little child. And then who did I turn to when I was sad? And who was the one that was supposed to be my sunshine? And it became a really this really beautiful mask that I knew how to wear well. I knew how to please, perform, and perfect and produce really cool things so that I could feel worthy, there's another P, prove myself worthy of love, approval, and acceptance. But when I wasn't pleasing, performing, producing, or proving myself, then what? And those are really human emotions. And yoga really taught me the yin and yang principle, that there is balance, there is light and dark. I've got my shadow drum right here and then a yin yang drum right up here. But like learning that the darkness isn't all bad, that in fact the feminine energy is the darkness. Think of the womb. Darkness. That's where creation starts. Underground, the seed plants in darkness. And this darkness is that nurturing and nourishing energy. The womb, water full of amniotic fluid. In the ground right now, as the seeds are all hibernating and we're getting saturated, the earth is getting saturated with water and snow to soak up and feel these beautiful seeds with like nutrients that you need to grow into the light being that you came here to be. Then we step into the high school stage. So let's just kind of go over the stages that I just went over were the impulse perspective, the opportunist perspective, and the rule and conformist diplomat. So these are kind of like good versus evil, true versus false. You know, just when you start to learn to lie, learn that you are different than other people. The high school stage is that stage where you kind of start to go, you start to learn sorting. And I remember thinking of high school as a TV tray dinner. Do you remember TV tray dinners? I know I guess they kind of still have them, but they were like more separated back in the 80s and early 90s, where it was like, okay, here's the meat and potatoes, and then here's like the vegetables, and then here's like a special dessert dish. And, you know, and it was just all of these, everything was separated. In high school, you got the jocks, you got the brainiacs, you got the, you know, the rebels or the skater kids, and you got the preppy kids, and you got the, you know, the rockers, and you got the band geeks, and, you know, just all of these different categories. And it's like, where do I fit in? And it was really interesting. I found that I was definitely I tried to be a preppy kid. I was on the drill team, and the drill team at the time in my high school was considered the cool kids. Like, you know, the drill team and the basketball and football team and the student body, those were the cool kids. The you know, then there was like yeah, but I didn't feel like one of the cool kids. And I didn't really like I could fit in with the girls on the drill team because we were peers, we were equals. I could do just as many pirouettes and I could do splits and backflips and stuff just like they could. But there was something that just like outside of dance, we didn't hang out. We didn't fit. We really didn't fit. They were concerned with things that just didn't seem like, why do you care about that? Like it didn't like, you know, boyfriends and clothes and hair. Like I remember them crying about their hair and I was just like, really? Like it's just hair, you know? And you guys see me on here all the time with just like my morning hair. I'm like, well, whatever. Everybody has it, you know? And here I am like blowing my nose too. It's just like I don't stuff that like they were embarrassed by. I couldn't spend energy and effort on. And I actually remember my patriarchal blessing, which is for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is a really beautiful, it's divination. It's a premonitory blessing. And that's not how the church describes it. That's my new words. And I've since actually rewritten my patriarchal blessing instead of, you know, throwing it out with the church. It was like, no, actually, this is still really beautiful. And in there, it talks about how um, I am wise beyond my years, and that things that often bother my peers don't really seem to faze me because I have this ability to see above it. I can see this total view, this higher perspective. And it also talks about how I will be a ray of light, like a lighthouse, shining for those that have lost their way in their darkness and help them find their way back to light. And it was just like, wow, there was some really cool things in there. You know, my mom called me Little Miss Sunshine and talked about how I was, you know, this ray of sunlight and this lighthouse. So it was some really cool stuff that I still really believe, you know, divination is divination. And just because I don't believe in the structures of that religion anymore, I still believe in a lot of the beautiful foundational truths that are there because I did go looking for other religions and I found all the same basic truths. And for a minute, I was really mad. I was like, no, there's got to be the truth. In fact, that's stage 3 is true versus false. And I went searching for the truth because I found like this can't just be it. There's got to be more. And it was like, well, this is kind of it. But there is also more within it. And I just didn't have to be confined to the structures and the rigid rules and regulations of that church anymore. So in high school, I ended up actually leaving my senior year to go to early college because I was like, get me out of this drama. This is just crazy. And I found in college that some of my constructs and beliefs that I had learned as a child that had kept me safe and I was taught to help me grow were to follow the rules. You follow the rules, you do the things that your elders say, and you should be okay. Well, in college, it was like, hey, listen, we're all grown-ups here. And this is what it takes to pass this class. And it's on you. Like, I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to punish you and put you in detention or timeout. I'm not going to take away your birthday or anything. Like, it's up to you. If you want this, this is what you got to do to get it. And that's it. And it was just like, what? What? Like this massive new concept of independence instead of codependency, just like this independence, new freedom. And so I rebelled. And I totally swung the pendulum to the other side. And instead of being this good little Mormon girl, that grew up in the Davis County bubble, the Mormon bubble, I mean, like right here in the, like Mormon Mecca, like literally I'm in Mormon Mecca because of, I'm like right by Salt Lake City, the temple and the conference center and the prophet lives here, like it's a big deal. And so like I kind of jumped out of the Mormon bubble, the little, Davis County special bubble, and I rebelled. I experimented with smoking weed for the first time and drinking alcohol and oh my God, having sex. I was such a sinner. In fact, I met my current husband in this time. And when I like started to fall in love with him, and feeling like we belonged together. I was like, oh, well, if we're going to get married, we got to like clean up and do it right and go to the temple. And he was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. He had standards. He had his own beliefs and standards. And that didn't work for him. And so heartbroken and now humbled and humiliated also because I had given away my precious pearl of purity to this man who now wouldn't honor it and take me to the temple. And that was my perspective at the time. And so just humiliated and totally humbled and so full of shame and guilt. I am a sinner. And now who's going to want me because I have been defiled and I'm unclean and unworthy of a temple marriage and a temple wedding and a priesthood that can give me that. Ouch. I mean, talk about self-worth killing, self-esteem killing, soul crushing. Who are you? I'm like unworthy beyond, I mean, talk about the red letter A, and what was that book? Where they put the letter A and I mean for adultery. But like I was just like this sinner. And so I came back to church. I, did all of the things and fast forward. I'm kind of jumping back and forth here. So hopefully you can follow my beautiful, messy mind, the beautiful mind. And that took me to where, I did find someone that would, take me as I am, as a mess. And we got married in the temple and we did the things. So yoga saved my life. And that kind of the yoga thing gave me this like, oh my gosh, I have something. I've learned something that could help so many people and save so many people from becoming the zombies, the medicated zombies that I had seen. Because I had found natural ways to help with depression, anxiety, and ADHD. And I just wanted to share them with the world. So I went and got certified in my yoga. I went and took all of these courses and workshops on how to be a good entrepreneur. I did all of the personal development that's needed to become a good entrepreneur. And I tried and I tried and I tried. And this is the stage 3. This is where there's winners versus losers. This stage 3 is the achiever, or this is the expert. This is the birth of the third person perspective, introspection, and how I'm different from the peer group. So true versus false. Oh no, this is 3.5, 3.5. So the 3.5. I will post a link in the comments with the stages matrix and information where you can find it if you would like more information. Um, this is the achiever. So internally develops your highest personal potential. Woo, yeah, the personal development books, baby. All the workshops and trainings. I'm gonna do it. And the goals, got this. And this is win versus lose, right? And this is the guilt of not getting it right or getting lost in your future possibilities. I was here for a really, 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 really long time. I've been in this personal development industry, self-help. I've been in this process for over, well, my first daughter, where the postpartum happened, where the journey began, she will be 22 this year in May. So there's how long I've been on this journey. So I became a mompreneur, and I went searching high and low for all of the right ways to do it. And then I would find the thing, and then I would be a fanatic about teaching it. And it was like, you're doing it wrong. This is the right way. Medication is bad. Nutrition is the way. Like staring at the phone and working from, at your computer is killing you. You need to work out. And it was just like, you're wrong. This is right. That is wrong. This is right. And I was hurting a lot of people, including myself, because I still believed at my core a lot of those things that I was going against because this was how I was raised, cultural norms. And so I was kind of battling against myself. And it was really, really interesting. Um, Stage 4 is the pluralist. This is when you realize system thinking. Um, like IFS, like that you realize that you are made up of multiple parts, that you are not just the one person and there's not just one way, right? Like, oh, I have my shadow self. I have my inner little celebrity and my little ego and I've got my little jealousy monster and I've got my mom self and I've got my little business self and I've got my wife self and all these different parts that we have. And you have this fourth person perspective and it's free. I don't know that word that I wrote there from previous myth, but don't believe in any myth either. Okay. Oh, so it frees you from your previous myth that you were living, but you don't have a new myth to step into. So this is where like people are like, this is where my awakening happened. I'm so awake. And you start to realize that there are multiple truths, that there's not just one truth. It's like my favorite image and example of this is the meme of there's a person standing here and a person standing here. And right here in the middle is a 6 to this person, but to this person, it's a 9. They're both right. But this person's going, no, it's a 6, you're wrong. And this person's going, no, it's a 9, you're wrong. And then they tell each other why they're such horrible people because they don't know what they're looking at. But they're both right because it just depends on how you're looking at it. So this is the fourth stage, pluralist. But there's a trap here where there's this, and I've been in this one, like I'm just starting to I've had moments out of this one, especially in ceremony or when I'm with a client one-on-one and we're in a healing session. I've had moments of stage 4.5, and which is the strategist, and this is individuation. It's integrating all of your parts that you have, and you understand that it's a lifelong journey. You're never like, check, done. Like, I brushed my teeth, done for the day. But like, you got to brush your teeth every fucking day, right? It's a journey, but you know how to do it in a healthy way, and you desire to help others in a systematic way. So the trap that happens in stage 4 in the pluralist is this: if you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. right? And it's the like, be here now, and everything's like in this moment, everything is good, everything's sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. And if I could just be here now, everything will be perfect. And like essentially kind of spiritually bypassing and bullshitting all of the other stuff that's going on, because you're just like, there is no right or wrong, and okay, good for them, but not for me. And yes, that's helpful. Those are all really helpful. And you need to have a like foundation to stand on, a cosmology, a belief system, or a myth to stand on, so that you know what you're working towards, and you can also see how far you've come. Otherwise, you kind of just get complacent and lackadaisical and lost in just la, 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 and you don't really make any effort or change. And it is really scary there because also there is this feeling of futility in that place of, man, what does it really even matter? This, I know that I have these gifts. I know that I have so much light to shine and so much love to give and share. But does it really matter when all of this stuff is happening in Ukraine and AI and you like all of that stuff, right? People starving even here, and all of the disease and death and decay and fear and oh, economy, right? Just grocery prices and gas prices. Like, how do we just like make day-to-day changes? Like, how do I make real change? And how can me teaching people that they're important and that they matter, and that these processes that seem really simple and easy, and we all know we need to do them. We all know we need to meditate every day. We all know, we've all heard the benefits and seen the scientific evidence of doing the internal work and the shadow work, and setting goals, and having a mentor guide us. We've lost that tradition. Those traditions used to be inherent in our society, and it became this very systematic. You go to school, you learn a trade, or you get your degree, and then you get a job and you work until you retire, and then you play. But that system is breaking, and people are noticing that that's breaking, and seeing that it's keeping them actually more trapped than helping them be more free. And we've also had just more and more technological advances open up where we actually can be more free and actually don't need necessarily that systematized way of learning. There's YouTube University, there's Audible University. There's things at the click of a button. I can just, with a hey Siri, real fast. Oh, and there's it's going to ask me something real fast. I can get 3 million pages of results. And it's a little overwhelming. In fact, our brains were not wired to handle all of the input that is coming at us all of the time. And that's why this generation that's coming up, my kids' generation that's coming up, is the highest suicide rate that we have ever had. And it continues to increase. And with highest anxiety, highest depression, highest ADHD, highest everything, because we get so bombarded and so distracted, and this thing is consuming us. And because it's new, no one's teaching us how to use it consciously for creation. Sure, there's content creators out there and influencers, but it's like you have to find your own way. And who am I to teach people these simple tools that are like free, like breathing, meditation, journaling, free? Who am I to charge for that? Right? And share these things. But I've paid a lot of money to learn these things. I've read a lot of books, been to a lot of workshops, and I've taught a lot of classes through trial and error. I've learned a lot of things. So why not shine my light and ask for compensation to save maybe somebody a whole bunch of, you don't need to read all of the books that I've read. You don't need to go to all of the workshops that I've gone to. I can distill it for you and show you this is really all you need. And that's what I do in my Sacred Intuition Society. So stage 4 is this pluralist, realizing a system thinking. It's starting to discover that there's not just one right way, but the trap is that you kind of get stuck and you do nothing because you're just like, well, there's no right or wrong, so I might as well just and I've been trapped there for a really long time, and I'm just starting to come out of it and just starting to say, no, this is not okay. No, I don't want to see this. Yes, I want my voice to be an input in AI instead of just going, I'm just going to stay away from it and and just like hope for the best that it's going to be okay. Actually, I'm going to start using it as a healer and inputting healing information in there so that it has this beautiful information in it. Of all the people that should be programming AI, it needs to be the light warriors, the people that have conscience and morals and ethics and goals and systems of success. I mean, we're the ones that actually can change the world, but we have to own it first and we have to claim it. So that's step 4.5, strategist, individuation, integrated internal family system. So understanding all of your parts make up you, and you can step into whatever part you need to play the role that is called for in that moment. It is powerful. I've got these ego archetypes and what are they called? Alter egos. Jerry and I were just talking about alter egos yesterday, and it was so funny because we were just talking about, my name is Jenny, Jennie. That is my name at birth. I am not a Jennifer. And it really used to bug me, all of the Jennies that are short for Jennifer, that I was lumped in, Jenny S, you Jenny S. And I'm like, no, I am not Jenny S. I am Jenny. Y'all are Jennifer B and Jennifer D and Jennifer W, and y'all are Jennifers. Let me be Jenny. I'm Jenny. But when it comes to this whole, like, I could fit in everywhere I went, right? In high school, I was on the drill team with the cool girls. Like, they were the cool girls. Oh my God, you guys, like, they were so hot. Everybody wanted them. And I could fit in with them, but I did not belong. Like, we didn't hang out outside of the drill team. So I didn't really belong to the archetype of the drill team are the cool girls, because I was not the cool girl. I was weird. I was like the one weirdo that it was like, I will let her in, I guess, because she can move cool. You like do stuff, but like don't talk to her. Just like, or like, we'll just like bless her heart. She's got a special spirit. Like, that was the energy that I had in high school. I could fit in everywhere, but I didn't really belong because I hadn't been able to get to this place where I realized that all parts of me are worthy and valid, that I didn't have to hide them or put on a different persona that I thought I needed. And this is a lifelong journey. And this is where this is transcend and include. You get to transcend above all of the noise of all of the different parts of you and include all of them. Like, it is this really beautiful duality of honoring I am both human and spirit. I am this messy, emotional, like, chaos. And I am perfection incarnate. I am divinity incarnate. I am both and. And it's a really beautiful place. And I have experienced this again in ceremonies, whenever I teach ceremonies in a session. In a session, there's just something that comes, and I think it's because of the prayer that I say before any ceremony and session, which is just, I want to be the hollow bone. God, guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, ascended masters, call in my light, surround me, open me up. Help me know what you would have me know, see what you would have me see, hear what you would have me hear, say what you would have me say, feel what you would have me feel, do what you would have me do. I'm going to go over here to the sacral chakra, create what you would have me create. And then the root chakra, be what you would have me be for the highest good of all involved. And then I, as an ego I, step out of the way, thinking I steps out of the way, and I let whatever needs to flow through. I have a thought, and I immediately act on it. There's a sensation, we're doing this. I feel something, we're going to move it. And so that is a really powerful place to be. And then the fifth is construct aware, fifth person perspective, aware of a thought, about a thought, about a thought, aware of a thought, about a thought, about a thought. I'm just going to end there. Gosh. Um, so my prayer, really long, slow 78 prayer of intuitive prayer of intention is that you maybe find yourself in one of these stages and go, okay, what's the next step? What's the next stage? How do I step out of the win versus lose and into the awake versus asleep? How do I step out of the right versus wrong into the, hey, let me actually work towards something, then into the awake versus asleep, and then, or hey, I've had my awakening. Now, how do I actually transcend and include all parts of me, all parts of everything? And if you would like help doing that, I would love to guide you through that. That is one of my prayers for that. I feel like that is one of my callings and one of my gifts is really truly seeing you for who you really are, cutting through all of the crap and the masks and layers and constructs that you have carefully constructed over time, because I have deconstructed and taken off every single one of mine. And I have seen the core of me in all parts of my life. I have seen and held the parts of me that didn't want to exist anymore because I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I was contributing enough and couldn't. And the parts of me that are just so mad at the injustices that are happening and the people that seem completely just ignorant and blind to it, and hurt for the people that are being hurt because of that, because hurt people and they don't know. They don't know what they don't know, and so they're innocent, and so there's also this like forgiveness and compassion for them. And all those parts of me I've held and I've witnessed and I've seen, and I've been able to witness and hold and see them on others. And through it all, I can always see light. It's been my gift, Little Miss Sunshine. And I just want to shine my light. I want to share my light with the world and help more people see their light and grab a hold of that light within them and never let go. And with what's coming in the world, all the uncertainty and fear that's coming in the world, when you are tapped into this place in here, you have an authority that will always guide you true. They'll always tell you the truth. If you're open to listening, looking, seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, however it shows up for you, in whatever of those five senses, if you're willing to look at it, it will always tell you the truth. Unlike AI, unlike our government, unlike, like, okay, doctors, bless my doctor's heart. I've forgiven him. He was doing what he thought was best. He was doing what his training told him was best to help me. He didn't know what he didn't know. He wasn't part of some conspiracy that was like trying to numb me and make me a zombie so I was easier controlled. I mean, maybe there are some nefarious people out there that do have that as their mission in life. But I think deep down, most people are doing the best they can with the information they got. And I want to share and open up that there's more information and there's more places to look for it that will actually give you the truth and that are more pertinent to you than something that's someone trying to sell you something. Consume. Consume instead of create. I'm going to drop artwork. I mean, just you came here to create, and your light needs to shine through your creations. So if you're not sure what that light is, if you're not sure how to find that light, if you have found that light and you don't know what to do with it, or you have started doing things with it, but you don't know where to go from there, I have been through all of those steps and I have failed massively and I have had some incredible successes. And I could go like, hey, maybe don't do that pitfall that I did. Learn from me. Or, hey, I did this and it really worked. Maybe try that. I can help and I would love to. That's what I desire to do. There's a blue jay that just landed on my fence. Okay, I love you. And if you want help, sacredintuitionsociety.com or comment in the section below or reach out to me, message me, and let's find your light because it is your time. It is our time to shine. We need your light. And I love you. Namaste.